Today's cocktail is based on a story written by one of the greatest horror writers in history. A man whose life was as terrifying as his tales, and someone who could take something as familiar as color and turn it into the stuff of nightmares. Hi, my name is Gabe Bauer, and this is Top Shelf History. This is The Color Out of Space, the shot I have crafted for you today. It is based on the story of the same name. It consists of two ingredients, Bailey's Irish Cream and the ever infamous absinthe, whose own dramatic legacy makes me think it should almost be said in a whisper. Absinthe. Now, I first discovered Lovecraft when I was watching a video on a small-time website, YouTube. Watching top 5 scary videos, and I heard some quotes and I just thought to myself, I gotta read more of this guy. The moment I bought a book with a collection of his best stories, I was hooked. His use of language was just on another level and I couldn't put it down, even though some of his stories sent shivers running up and down my spine. While I was reading The Color Out of Space, a story about an alien that causes a blight and tremendous other horrors in a single homestead, I came across this quote. That riot of luminous amorphousness, that alien and undimensioned rainbow of cryptic poison from the well, seething, feeling, lapping, reaching, scintillating, straining, and malignly bubbling in its cosmic and unrecognizable chromaticism. I mean, wow, is there a better way to describe that horror, that thing, something so alien? When Lovecraft was originally writing this story, he was thinking that everybody who was writing their sci-fi tales were humanizing aliens far too much in them. So he wanted to create something truly alien. It is also speculated that Lovecraft drew a tremendous amount of inspiration from Hugh Elliott's Modern Science and Materialism, published in 1919, a book which mentions the limitations of the human senses, such as all of the colors outside of the visible spectrum. I was just astounded at how he was able to take a color and make it terrifying. I knew after reading that, I had to come up with a drink that to some degree depicts something close to what Lovecraft describes the color to be. And so I came up with this, my best attempt at creating a drink that had that undimensioned rainbow of cryptic poison. On the bottom is Bailey's, which reminds me of the blight. And sitting afloat is absinthe, with its stark green coloration that shows off that luminous amorphousness. There we are. Now, if this was the early 1900s, temperance movement members in France would have you believe that drinking absinthe would actually send you spiraling into madness. It won't, but stick around to the last call and we'll tell you why they made these claims. Now that we have our drink, let's taste it and see if we enter into the horrible prison of madness. The drink is so potent. It has the burning, nummy, licorice flavored absinthe up front, but then you are met with the sweet, delectable Baileys. It's a lot like reading Lovecraft for me. You enter the dreadful, maddening world that hits you in the face, much like the absinthe, but as you keep drinking, you are met with the sweet satisfaction of tremendous storytelling that has you wanting to come back for more. So why did the French temperance movement members decide absinthe was going to make you go mad? Because of one ingredient, wormwood. And wormwood has a toxin in it called thujin. And thujin's actually found in other ingredients like sage and tarragon and things that we actually eat a lot of. And so they decided that they wanted to do a study on the ingredients in absinthe because back in the late 19th century and early 20th century, there was a lot of people drinking absinthe, a lot of famous people drinking absinthe at the amount of levels that you would probably drink wine. So, you know, instead of having 2 glasses of wine with the girls on a Friday night, you're having 2 glasses of absinthe. The difference is absinthe is a lot higher percentage of alcohol than wine. And so people in the early 20th century and late 19th century in France were just getting drunk out of their mind. And everybody was wondering, why are these people losing their minds? They're doing ridiculous things. One guy killed his wife after being drunk on absinthe, and there was actually some hysteria starting to pop up here in France. So they got this one doctor, Dr. Magnin, and he did a study on the effects of thujan and using wormwood oil. He tested it on a few animals, including a dog and a few rats. The rats would end up dying, having tremors. The dog would go nuts and bark at a wall for 30 minutes, and he used these very potent levels of wormwood oil to say, yeah, see, if you use wormwood, it's obviously toxic and it's going to make you go nuts. When that's not really the case. You see, in absinthe, even at the time, it didn't have enough thujan in its entire ingredient list to cause you to get poisoned. You would actually die of alcohol poisoning before you died from thujan. Just note that. But people were so afraid of the mass hysteria and the ridiculous behavior that people were having because they were so drunk that they banned absinthe, both in the US and Europe, for 100 years. Only recently, within the past, I believe, decade or so, maybe 2 decades, has absinthe actually made a comeback. But crazy to think that people in France decided that they liked absinthe more than wine, and then they got crazy drunk off of it, and then it got banned like for 100 years. It's kind of how I see the Four Loko story going about here in the next 100 years. Just remember that. Thank you all so much for watching. If you'd like a deeper dive into the tragic life that was H.P. Lovecraft, then check out my article at topshelfhistory.com. There we also have all of our recipes, videos, and blog posts. From all of us here at Top Shelf History, cheers.